I'd meet so many guys in jail for murder, but none of them have done it. I could be in a room with 9 men, only 2 men have done the murder. And I realized, wow, like in jail, you actually need to have friends. Like you need guys that are gonna back you.
What was the worst thing you saw over 12 years in prison?
The worst thing I saw was probably like stabbings. I saw a boy, he got stabbed in his eye.
Were you scared in there?
So mad, but they favoritized the rapists. Like the rapists got the best jobs. The rapists always made it to open jail.
It's wrong,
like they treated them nice. And the reason, every time we used to kick off and argue with the officers and say, why are they, they used to say, it's not their fault. Not anyone can have a phone, you know, in jail. Phones, iPhones were getting sold for $3,000.
Yeah,
You'd have to have a lot of money to even buy a phone for $3,000.
Obviously, I know that you got into the music, you were in there and I seen a video of you that must have went viral from prison. And I know that you risked your freedom to do that, but what's the crack? Like, if you're covered up, can they not do naught about it?
I used to blame the system, but I think that over time, when I got out and I realized how long I'd been away, that's what really made me say, I don't want nothing to do with any of these lot again. I think that's when it hurt me the most, like, realize how long I'd been away.
So today, we are back with Cleeshay for a part 2. Obviously, the first episode went down really well. Obviously, you were convicted for murder on joint enterprise, 12 years in prison.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't talk about is, in the first episode, was, you know, your prison experience. Obviously, you went away at, how old were you, 16?
60, yeah, I was 16.
16.
I was 16 when I was found guilty, yeah.
And you'd been out a year now, haven't you?
Been out a year, just like a year and a few months.
So for me, you've obviously went into prison at such a young age, again, for something you didn't do under that law. And, you know, you've missed, for me, all them years, you know, your late teens, driving cars, girlfriends, going to clubs, holidays, all those things that unfortunately you've had to face. And you know, you're out now and you're doing great things, which I want to touch on. But being convicted and going down, what was that like?
I'll be honest, like when I was convicted, I was actually like, I could say that I was like heartbroken, yeah, because not only have I been found guilty for something I haven't done, it's a crime. It's a murder charge. Like it's not like a little robbery or a petty crime that it's like, you know, I didn't do it, but all right, I might do a little year in jail. Like this is murder. Like, so I'm thinking, I wasn't sure what sentence I was gonna get. I was told to expect like 15, 16 years. And remember, I was only 16 years of age. So to be told, look, you're gonna do like 15 years in jail, it was mad. Like it was crazy. When they told me I got my 12, I remember. So when I got found guilty, that was a separate occasion to when I was sentenced. I had to come back for sentencing in about 5 months. When I got found guilty, I remember like, yeah, my heart just like, you know, when people say like your heart just sank, like I just remember feeling so low, like not even low, but I felt like everything was you know when people say the world is just folding in, I just felt small.
Did you feel like you wanted to like retaliate and try and appeal? And
I actually did appeal. I appealed a few times, but it just weren't happening. 2012, I appealed. It got knocked back. I appealed again. Went in for like a second appeal. It got approved by a first judge, which meant I had a hearing in front of 3 judges in London Court of Appeal. So I've gone down there. This is like 2012, January, February. I've been in jail for like just under a year. So I felt like, yeah, like justice was always gonna come. Like this is my day. And then yeah, like they said no. Like they literally deliberated for about 10 minutes. They said no. Like, and I was just thinking, wow, am I actually gonna do this whole sentence? I even went for a next appeal, which my solicitors, they did for me pro bono, which means for free. They didn't charge. They were so like angered with like the result of my conviction. They didn't charge me. They did a appeal to the European Court of Appeal. That's in Paris, in France.
What's happening, guys? I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. If you are, please hit that like, hit the subscribe button, and press the notification bell so you don't miss another episode.
And even that, by June 2014, I got a letter. It was like addressed from France. And they basically told me like, because of the joint enterprise law doctrine, like my conviction was a fair conviction. It was a safe conviction, and that's when I started to realize, like, I don't think there's any way out of this. Like,
it would make you think it's not fair. Do you know what I mean? Because they're telling you that, but you know in your heart you haven't committed that crime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the saddest thing. A 16-year-old lad, mate, you should be preparing for college.
I know.
You shouldn't be spending that time in prison. What was your first night like in prison?
First night. So remember when I was 15, I was remanded. That was the first time I went to prison. If I'm 100% honest, I can't remember everything because it was 2010. But I remember, like, I had to go through induction, like induction wing. That's when you're like first new to prison. You do like up to 7 days on a wing. I feel like they soften the blow. Instead of putting you straight on the main wings where it's all going off, they put you on an induction wing. And on this induction wing, I think like every day or twice a day, you come out your cell. Officers are like running, like, I wouldn't call it a meeting, but it's like everyone sits around in a circle in chairs. Obviously you guys are all the newcomers, you guys are all come in recently, you're all on the induction wing, and the officers, they'll read out rules to you, they'll teach you, like, they'll tell you what jail's like, what you can, what you can't do, what you're allowed, what you're not allowed, things like that. They're trying to get you to the grips of prison. But the cell I was in was quite a big cell. It had a shower, it had everything in it. So, but that's a false reality, because once you finished induction, you go to the small cells, go to the real wings where there's no shower in your cell. And like my first night in jail, when I was 15, 2010, when I was remanded, I just remember, like, it's almost like I wasn't trying to stress, so I was just watching TV. Like every moment of the day, I was just watching TV.
What was going through your head? Were you just desperate to be on the outside? Or were you trying to deal with being in prison?
I'll be real with you. I wasn't trying to get used to jail because I felt like I'm not going to be here for that long. I kind of convinced myself, like, I just have to ride this out until they work out who's done what, until, like, do you know what I mean? They drop charges. I just felt like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be, I couldn't see myself doing a long time in jail. And like, it sounds crazy, but I always say this, the way my life was, you know, like I had two working parents. Like I'd go on holidays like 2 times a year, sometimes 3 times a year. Like I had a good life. Do you know what I mean? I had a good childhood. I had parents that loved me. Like I just felt like it wasn't in the plans to ever do like a massive chunk of my life in jail. Do you get what I mean? I just felt like I'm not that bad of a person to get this fate, to receive this. Do you know what I mean? Like I know what I've done. I know what I haven't done. Like, but yeah, I wasn't trying to adjust to prison.
Were you scared in there?
I was a bit, in a sense, but at the same time, I'll be honest, I knew a few people from my area in there, and like from the first day of like landing, I kind of like let them know I was here. I came in, there was actually 2 guys. So when you go to prison, you're transported through like a bus. It's called like a circle van. Sweatbox. Some of them will say G4S, GOAME. Down south London, it's called Circle. It's like a security company. But these are the sweatboxes. They transport prisoners back and forth to prison or to court, whatever. When I was on the bus, I actually knew 2 guys from my area. So the fact that they were on the bus with me, going to the same prison that I'm going to, I just felt a bit more like, yeah, I know these guys. You know, they've got a bit of muscles. They're a bit known in my area. They must be like known in the jail. I just felt like, yeah, I'm just gonna hang around with these guys now. So, you know, I'm 15, they're 16, they're bigger. You know, if I'm seen with them, people will know not to trouble me. And it's like, I don't know, prison, I didn't know what prison was gonna be like. I've only seen films. I've seen people die in the movies. I've seen people getting thrown over balconies, and I thought, oh, yeah, prison is like, you can't really hide behind your group of 8 mates in jail. You can't hide behind, I don't know, some people, like, they say like a lot of people that use weapons in the streets, when they come to prison, they're a different guy, because in prison it's just straight, it's about heart. If you got heart, do you know how to fight? Are you strong? It's not about, I've got 20 guys, or you can't really use your reputation in jail. No
The
one
thing
cares.
is, what's interesting about you is you're not that guy though. So I know you've got to have heart and you've got to have this, which I get, and we could all have a bit of that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, you didn't do the crime. You didn't kill anyone.
Yeah.
So to be in there and you've just got to have heart and survive and not have your mates to hide behind. Like, you're not that person. That's why I asked if you're scared.
I was scared, but like, it sounds mad, but like, I'll be honest with you, like, if I look back at it now, even like on the build up to the crime, everyone's scared in a sense. And the reason I say everyone's scared is like, why does this person carry a knife? Because he's scared. He doesn't want to get stabbed.
Why does the top guy in the gang, he's scared?
Everyone's scared, whether people want to admit it or not. Because the reason I say everyone's scared is because why do they carry knives then? Why do you hang around? Why do you need to be in a gang? Everyone's got that slight bit of fear of what could happen. So that kind of continued in prison. And it's like, I don't know, like, I can honestly say, I think when I first went to prison, I was acting a bit, I wouldn't even say I was acting tougher than I was, but I was definitely not trying to show any vulnerability. I wasn't trying to show any sadness. Like, if I'm crying in my cell. I ain't crying in front of everyone. Do you get what I mean?
The thing is, mate, when you're in there as well, because obviously, was it the YPs?
This was the juveniles.
So when you're in there, like, for me...
YPs,
So I would be looking at other lads thinking, they're probably going to be out in 6 months or a year. I know after this, I'm going to go to big boy jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was that in your mind as well? Like, I might have it good now, but it's going to get worse.
So this time, remember, I'm still talking about remand. When I was found guilty... That was in March 2010... Sorry, 10th of March 2011, I was found guilty. So now I know, you're doing
this is my life now.
This is going to be you for a bit now. And like I said, I've gone to a prison called Ashfield. It's in Bristol. The jail was a good jail. It was a private jail. It wasn't a government jail. It was a circle-run prison. Phones in your cell, shower in your cell, freeview. If you was on a certain level, you have to behave to get freeview, but it was a cushy jail. It was calm. We used to get Canteen twice a week. Canteen is your weekly shop where you can order like your chocolates, your food, your phone credit, your drinks, all of that, toothpaste, toiletries. We used to get that twice a week. That's not normal. You get it once a week. So it was a good jail in a sense where you have a decent living. But I'll be honest with you. When I look back now, I think I just whatever was thrown at me, I just rode it. As in, I didn't hide in myself and think, oh, this is horrible. I just thought, it just kind of is what it is, man.
What was the transition like from the YPs to the proper prisons?
Why in the YPs? So I know up north they call it YPs. We call it the juveniles. That's the 15-year-old to 18-year-old establishments, and these are like, the best way to put it is like, these are the most hostile. Like, people were fighting over anything. There was
testosterone's high.
Yeah, testosterone's high. It's literally like boarding school, boys' school. Everyone just wants to like be the toughest. Do you get what I'm saying? I didn't care about being the toughest because number one, I weren't the toughest. But number two, I didn't care about being the toughest, but I definitely weren't trying to be seen as the victim. That's what always used to go through my mind. Like, I was like, I can never be victimized in jail. And the thing about jail, like, I've seen people with big names in London come jail and they get victimized, and I felt like, wow, like, jail is a different environment. Like, jail, like I say, you're not hiding behind 20 guys from your area. You're on your own, and you're meeting other guys from London. You're meeting all the bad boys from London, especially in these juveniles. I always felt like if you go jail under 18, you're a bad kid. A lot of people get caught up in crime later on in life, but to be sent to prison at 15, 16, a lot of the kids were quite like bad kids.
Did you meet other people then like you, or other people who've been convicted of murder at that age?
Yeah. Some of them had done it, some of them hadn't done it.
Right.
I'd say majority, to be honest, majority hadn't done it, because for every murder case in London, there'd be about 5 people going down for it, even though one guy done it. Do you know what I mean? That's why like it got to a point where I'd meet so many guys in jail for murder, but none of them have done it. I could be in a room with 9 men. Only 2 men have done the murder, but we're all convicted
Can
murderers.
you tell the difference between someone who you know's done it, even if they haven't tell you, or not? Like, are you like, yeah, he's that guy, he would do that?
The reason I say no is because some people will know what I mean by this, but like a lot of people I've met in prison that have taken a life, that have killed someone, when you meet them years down their sentence, yeah, you wouldn't even know that's what they've done. And like, I feel like majority of people would think, oh, if you've killed someone, you're a menace, you're a madman, you're this, you're that. I've met so many guys, lifers, after a decade, after 9 years in, they're probably the most kindest guys you'll ever meet in jail, which is so crazy saying it. Like, everyone needs to say it. Like, officers will say it. They're like, how comes the murderers are like the kindest guys?
Yeah, you hear that all the time.
Yeah,
like.
and the reason I believe that is because jail gives you a lot of time to think. Jail gives you a lot of time to reflect on your actions. A lot of people, you know, like, there are some people that are just want to kill people. Yeah. There are also people that make mistakes. There are people that make mistakes in life. There are people that, you know, like, it didn't mean to go that way, but it went that way. And I just feel like with a lot of time to yourself in prison, a lot of self-reflection, some people find religion. Some people mainly, like, they kind of like, they want forgiveness and they seek forgiveness by being a different person, by changing. So the reason I answered like that when you said, can you tell, I've met guys in jail that are in jail for armed robbery. But if I said he's killed someone, you would believe me because the way they're moving, they might have a knife on them every day. They might want to stab someone every couple months. But he's only in jail for armed robbery, but he's moving loose. Then you got a guy that's killed someone who just wants to get on with his sentence. He just wants to go education.
When you got to the you know, the older prisons, if you like, when did things get real for you? And you're like, what did you? Is there anything that you saw where you're like, right, shit, I'm actually here. Like, this is bad.
Yeah, to be honest, like, I saw that pretty much straight away from when I first went into jail. I wouldn't say it was bad, but like, in the younger jails, Feltham, it's quite a popular prison for in London. I was in a jail called Cookham Wood when I initially got remanded. And like, one thing I've learned is like, it's kind of gang mentality, pack mentality, but I realized people don't really have one-on-ones. No one really says me and you one-on-one. No one really does that. To be honest, no one did that in the streets anyway. But in prison, I've learned, like, you know, you could have a fight with someone if he's got mates from East London, North London, Birmingham. That everyone's jumping in, and a fight you fought, you entered, has now become 8 men, 9 guys all kicking your face and jumping on your head. And I realized, wow, like, in jail, you actually need to have friends. Like, you need guys that are gonna back you. Like, you can't. You could be muscular, you could be massive, but like I say, like, people don't fight fair. So you need guys. You need people that could even deter people from even trying it with you. Just knowing that, like, he's got a couple man with him. I'm not gonna trouble him. I'm not. Do you know what I mean? So I learned very quickly by seeing people getting jumped on, attacked 10-on-1, 12-on-1. It's like, yo, I need a squad here, man, because this is mad.
To survive, did you ever take that approach on? Did you ever think, actually, like, yes, I want to hold me on, but did you ever think, I'm gonna be the bully? I'm gonna get his bait off him. I'm gonna do this. Like, were you ever that guy or not?
Bully, nah. People. The funniest thing is, people that know me is like, I've never been a bully. I can't say never, but I'm never usually in the wrong. So, like, the way I've got through my sentence, avoided so many situations, and like, not really like tripped over, like, metaphorically, in my sentence, is because I don't really go out and look for trouble. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's times where, like, I might have felt disrespected. People might have took the piss. People might have tested me, and like, I've had to show them I'm not a dickhead. Like, I've had to show them, like, you can't do that or whatever. But I've never been a person that's outright just bullying people. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even judge people for that, because in prison, like, people leave you, as in, no one really looks after you anymore. So luckily for me, I had my family. So new trainers, anything I needed, I had it. So I didn't really need to be a bully. What do I need to be a bully for? I've got everything I want. I've got my stereo. I've got my trainers.
Did people not want to victimize you then? Because you're the guy who's got like if it was me and I was a bully and you're in there, or someone's in there, and I'd be like, well, he's getting cash in from his mum and dad and all this. Like, I'm gonna play on him. Was that ever a thing?
No, that was never a thing. And I just feel like I didn't have a name from the streets
Yeah,
that
yeah.
followed me into the jail, but it's just the fact that I think people just respected me for I was a person, like I was a lad's lad, innit? But at the same time, I knew how to carry myself well with the officers. I knew how to carry myself well in education. Um, Everyone knew me as the guy that got done for the murder, that didn't snitch, that is riding it. So I think people just naturally just respected me, like, yo, I give it to you, like, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, I've had a lot of fights, so people know, oh, he's also not a victim either. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. The
And
word spread, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I felt like me showing people that I'm not a victim, like, I can have it. Like, I've had many instances, I've even caught extra charge in jail. But like having that balance of being a nice guy, but also being able to defend yourself, like to a heavy extent, people just respect it. Like, yeah, this guy, like, I don't know, people always took to me.
What kind of things would you have done to show that then?
A
Can
lot
you
of
talk about any situations where you've got into something?
A lot of times in jail, like even the first fight I had in jail, it's so mad. Like this, a lot of these incidents, they taught me a lot of things. So this was like May 2011. I had an argument with a guy in a course. So this was a violence course, like an anger management course. Me and him are arguing, and it's getting to a point where like he said something like, "Oh, I'll smack you up, I'll knock you out." And I said, "What?" I literally stood up, like, "You mad?" And then I remember like members of staff intervened. They stopped it. Cool. I wasn't really trying to fight him in front of officers anyway. He just caused a scene, but I couldn't look like I was scared, so I just got up and that got resolved. A few days later, he asked me for a CD, to borrow a CD, and like I didn't think nothing of it because obviously we had to mediate. We're cool. Give him a CD, and like another 4 days later, I remember I've gone to the showers and just having a shower. I'm doing my hair, shampoo, whatever. And I remember like as I faced, so like these showers, they have shower doors and they have like squares in them, so like you can hang your towel through the square, your boxes through the square, like whatever. And I've looked through the square. And like I've seen him, and he's in his shower kit. He's like ready to come in. I didn't think nothing of it. And I remember coming out of the shower, and I'm just like bristling my hair in a towel. Then I felt like a punch to the side of my cheek, and I remember just looking like, oh my god! And I just see this guy, that same guy that borrowed my CD, that we was even chatting in between the argument and today we've spoken that, but he held that in. He's kept that in, and he's banged me. And I remember I flipped on him. I remember just like, I wasn't even calculating these punches. I was just throwing as many as I could in all directions. Like a few of them hit him. All these mates that were in the shower, they stopped it. Like, and I realized like they were there to stop it if I was winning, but they weren't going to do anything if he was winning. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's happened. And like that kind of taught me in prison, like just because you've resolved something, it doesn't mean anything. Like he held feelings for a week.
Did that happen to you as well? Like, did you ever? Was there anything that you think actually I shouldn't have took that out on him? Like, I probably did it for the sake of looking after myself there, and I went a bit too far.
There's incidents like I'm not proud in it. The only incidents I can really say where I've like, some people say it's like bullying, is like if people come on the wing and they've got like drugs, they've got like weed on them, they might have phones on them. And like, a few times I've took things off people, do you know what I mean? Like times I've used violence, there's times I didn't use violence. I just literally just let them know like, this is my wing. Like at the end of the day, I don't really care where you're from. Like if you got weed, like you gotta pay homage. Like it sounds mad saying you gotta pay homage, you gotta bust me, you gotta bust my man. And like there was even a time, there was a Welsh kid, he had weed. He came back with some hash on a visit, and he gave me some, but he didn't give my boy some. But me and my boy, there's like 3 of us that were running that wing. He gives some to me, and like I told my boy that I got some, but my boy never received some. And because he never received some, he looked at us, oh, this guy must not rate me. My boy kicked his head in the next day. And like I felt like, oh, should I have told him that I got it, or should I not have told him? But at the end of the day, naturally, it's just, that's just how it is, isn't it? Like if you're not of a certain caliber, like you can't have certain things in jail. It's like a lot of people see people with phones on the news. people in prison with phones. They think it's a holiday camp. People need to understand, like, people with phones, not anyone can have a phone, you know, in jail. These phones, just when I left prison the other day, iPhones were getting sold for $3,000. So number one, you'd have to have a lot of money to even buy a phone for $3,000. And number two, to have a phone that costs $3,000, what are all the little gang members that have no money gonna do when they see some any guy with an iPhone? They're gonna take that. They're gonna take that.
What was the worst thing you saw, do you think?
I think I saw
over 12 years in prison.
I think the worst thing I saw was probably like stabbings. I saw like I didn't see the actual stabbing. I saw the after. This is when I was in Liverpool, HMP Walton. I saw a boy, he got stabbed in his eye, and like there was like a large commotion, a lot of shouting, and I was on the servery. Servery is the people that serve food to the prisoners. I remember I came running out, and like, I just see the boy, like his eye. I didn't know what had happened to him at the time, but his eye, there was something about his eye. I could see one eye, and the other eye was like, I'm not gonna say it was missing, but it'd been pushed back in, and like I found out later, like he'd been stabbed, like someone had. It wasn't like a sharp, it was like a blunt. It was like like a dagger kind of, like a blade, homemade, innit? And it was pushed in his eye, and that was over a phone. And this is what I'm trying to say, like
the little things are blown up in there.
Little things, like it's over a phone. The phone, they're called Zancos. They're tiny phones the size of your little finger. These can be bought for about £16 on eBay, sorry. In prison, they go for up to £500. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a guy's done the back door on another guy, and yeah, he's been stabbed in his eye. One of the earliest things I saw that kind of let me know this isn't a normal environment. I had a friend, he was from Birmingham. I was in a jail called Wetherby. This was in Leeds. The guy that done it to him was a Scottish guy actually as well. It was a Scottish guy. We used to call him Jock. I don't know what it was over. I can't remember. It was over something stupid as usual, yeah. We were all under 18. And I remember we have something called association. And that's the time we get recreational time where prisoners can come out, use the phone, socialise, jump, have a shower, all them things, playing PS2s, whatever. And I remember like towards the end of association, the last 10 minutes, after the 10 minutes, we get banged up and we're locked up till the next day. The last 10 minutes, I remember there was like a commotion. I could hear it. And then that Scottish guy, Jock, he threw a kettle. He didn't throw the whole kettle, but he threw what was inside the kettle at this guy I knew, mixed race guy. And then bear in mind, the guy's mixed race, he's my colour. And like, as soon as it's hit him, he's screaming, he's shouting. There's a lot of people making noise, like, oh. There's officers running, the bell's going off. There's officers coming through gates in all directions because it's an incident now, innit? Something's kicked off. And I remember just seeing him and like he's took his t-shirt off his face, but like there was bits of like the blue fabric like still stuck, like attached to his neck. His skin had gone like, it changed, it was gone red, like it just looked mad. Like there was a lot of heat coming off his hair. And then I even saw him the next day when he came back from hospital. So the guy that done the hot water in, he'd gone to the segregation. You get taken away straight away. When I saw the guy, the mixed race guy, the next day, I remember he came to my door. He came to my flap. He got like a panel. And when I'm looking at it, I remember his skin gone like pink. I was thinking like you could blatantly see where the water had hit. Where like, I don't know if it had oil. I think it had sugar in it because that's the reason I think some of his fabric was sticking to him. So, and that was in 2012. And I remember I'd only come to prison 2011. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, these are things that can happen. And like I say, like the smallest thing in jail, like can lead to such violence. And I think like seeing all these events take place, I always made sure I was on my A game. So if I had an argument with someone, I was ready to take it to any length of any violence, because I can't have an argument with a guy and it's like it's not resolved. And then I go on like everything's normal. And then one day, like, I don't know, I'm in my cell and he just stabs me, or I'm in a shower and he do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He breaks me. So I was always a person like, I didn't like the unknown. A prime example, if I got into an issue with a lot of people that see this, they're gonna know. If I ever got into issues with people in jail, I would always make sure I know what it is. As in, I would always like pull you up later and be like, what was that about earlier? And I just want to know your stance. Like, are you holding feelings? Is it dead? Because like I say, I was new to prison. I had an argument with a guy. I thought it was all over. He punched me in my face. Luckily, that was the juveniles. If that was the YOs, he probably would have cut me. Probably would have got a blade and slit my. Do you understand? So it taught me, just because a guy says it's done, or if you haven't resolved it, you can't really be comfortable. And like I say, I'm in prison. I live here, innit? I'm doing a long time here. I'm comfortable. A lot of people, they don't like to get comfortable because they're like, I don't want to get comfortable. That's fine on them. When you're a lifer, you have to get comfortable. How can you not get comfortable? You're here for over a decade. Meaning my room was decorated. I've always had like one of the best cells in every prison because I live here. So I put effort into my rooms, you know. I pay people, I pay painters, I send them money, bank transfer them money, do up my room, patterns, this, wallpaper. Like, I'd always have extra furniture that people go, have you got that? But I'm a lifer, so I take pride in where I live because I'm here for a long time. So yeah, I like to be comfortable in my environment, but at the same time I know this ain't a normal environment.
How do you cope when you come up against, I mean, they're not even on the same wings, are they? But you know, like the rapists and all the dodgy people and that.
So saying that, yeah, I was actually in a prison called Swinton Hall for 3 years, and that you mix with them.
Really?
Yeah, you mix.
So what was that like, knowing that? Because I mean, I don't know if you've read their files, but you must know what they've done, what they're in for.
So some of them you know, and some of them you don't know, which was scary because people all think rapists are a certain way or a certain dirty way. I've met gangster rapists. Like, I've met men in jail, they're gangsters on road. They're highly respected, but they did a rape. But people don't really pull them up on it. People don't really cancel them out because they're gangsters. Then I've met.
If you don't know by now, I run a business called The Content PT. I create content for influencers, PTs, online coaches and fitness brands all around the world. So if you are someone who's in need for sexy content for your social media, or you really want to maintain a competitive edge in your industry, drop me a DM on Instagram.
Massive rapists, massive arms, bodybuilder rapists, and they don't get bullied in any sort of way, shape or form. No one says anything to them because they're massive. And it kind of messed up my head a bit in this jail because, like, I'm seeing rapists hanging around with the man them, and I'm saying, how comes he's here? And they're like, nah, but he's cool. And then you see over time, I started to say, they're cool, which is so mad because, like, I was in an environment where, like, rapists are just mingling with us, do you know what I mean? And, like, some people might think, oh, how can you be chilling with rapists? But, like, when I first went to that prison, I was like, I'm not proud, but I was bullying them. Like, I used to bully them. I used to make them feel a type of way. I used to say, shut up, you rapists. Like, I used to kick them off phones. And I used to get in trouble for this. Like, there was even a time I used a prison phone. I told my brother, yo, Google this guy. I said his name over the phone. And the security team came to see me a few days later, and they told me that I've been Googling prisoners. If anything was to happen to this specific prisoner, that I'm going to be going to the segregation, and that I'm basically, like, I got placed on like a bullying thing and everything. And I was thinking, wow, like, no one protects me like this. Why are they protecting them like this? And another thing that was quite messed up was the prison I was in. They kind of, it's so mad, but they favoritized the rapists. Like, the rapists got the best jobs. The rapists always made it to open jail.
It's wrong,
like they treated them nice. And the reason, every time we used to kick off and argue with the officers and say, why are they used to say, it's not their fault. But you lot chose to do your stabbings. You lot chose to do your gang stuff.
Also not their fault.
They said it's not their fault because they look at it as like mental health. So rape, sexual crimes have kind of slid into the mental health category, meaning they're not looked at as like dangerous, thugs, dirty. They're looked at as like they need care, they need help, they need more support.
That's why they let them back into society and all that type of shit. And how many prisons did you get into?
So in the end, I did 12, you know.
12 prisons?
Yeah, did a lot still, yeah.
Did you, I know this sounds like a mad question, but did you have like favourite ones?
Yeah, my favourite jail ever was HMP Dovegate, and that was a prison in like Stoke, Uttoxeter, Stoke on Trent. Yeah, the reason I say that's my favourite one, it was a private jail. There's like a common theme with these private jails. They're not really government jails, HMPs. They're proper like by the book, strict, get behind your door. Private jails, they give you more freedom. You're out more. You get more things like I had a shower in my room. You know, we get to order food twice a week. We can order like George Foreman grills, Brevels, Xbox 360. We had like a touchscreen ATM that we used to buy things on. Like it was more modernized. Had a phone in my cell.
Makes you feel like you're less in jail.
Phone in my cell. That's one of the best things because people have mobile phones, but like, you know, like there's a timer in it. Like eventually you get caught. You get extra time. If you have a phone in your cell, like a prison phone, and you're calling house phones, the rates are quite cheap. So like you can have a phone and be on the phone all night. And like I say, in jail, people use phones during that association period I told you about. But that's always during the day. Sometimes you want to lie in bed. You want to ring your girl when you're in bed. Do you know what I mean? Like you want to just chill at night. You might want to ring someone at midnight and say, "We saying?" You can't do that. So when you have a phone in your cell, you can ring people at any time. And it's just a lot more easy. Like as men, innit, we all want to ring women. Like when you're in bed at night, you get me. You might want to whatever. You get me. You want to ring girls, innit? So that was good. Education was good. There was a lot of courses going on, and that was one jail I felt like they treated you with respect, innit? They treated you like a human, man. They weren't. Most prisons I've been to, they're quite heavy-handed. Like as soon as you step out of line, they're ready to just punch
you're
you.
an animal.
Yeah, they're ready to just knock you out.
Did you? Because I know that obviously you're big into your music, and obviously you've went on. I mean, I've been listening to your tunes, and I've seen your music videos and things that you've done since your release, which is unbelievable. Obviously, I know that you got into the music when you were in there, and I seen a video of you. I'll put it on the screen now, but I seen a video of you that must have went viral from prison. And how does that go about when you with phones and stuff? Because I know that you risked your freedom to do that, but what's the crack? Like, if you're covered up, can they not do nothing about it?
I'm admitting it now.
I'm not trying to no, you know what I'm saying? Like,
nah. They know, innit? Like, they knew it was me. But I think the dangerous thing about being covered up is you don't get taken in as much because they can't see who you are, if that makes sense. Like, I'm just talking about anyone, yeah? So people that rap with their face out in prison videos, if they're good, you'll get more engagement because I can see you. So I covered up because I don't have a normal sentence. Other people, they have normal sentences, meaning if they get caught with a phone, they get a little 30 days, 20 days. They might even not get any extra days. They might just get no TV, 2 weeks. In my situation, because I'm a lifer doing a life sentence, anything I'm caught with, contraband, whether it's tobacco, weed, a lighter, Rizla, a phone, these things can have like detrimental like effects on they could literally knock me back for 2 years. They might say come back in 2 years. So I'd end up doing 2 more years on top of my 12-year life sentence for a phone or for a USB, which is insane because a phone isn't illegal out here. A USB isn't illegal out here. So how do you justify 2 years in jail for that? You know what I mean?
So you literally risked your freedom to do that.
I risked. Do you know what it is? At the time, I didn't think I was risking my freedom, but I was so hungry to get some sort of recognition because like throughout my years in jail, I'd be rapping, I've been singing, and people always used to say like, yo, you're so good, like you're gonna make it out there. And I feel like the reason everyone liked my music when I was in jail is because they can relate because they're in jail too. So when I'm talking about how I'm feeling in jail, everyone feels like that in jail.
But when I listened to it, obviously I've never been in jail. I don't think I could handle it, mate. But when I listened to it, I was like, I could feel it. I could feel the pain.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. That's why I listen to the Bugsy Malones, the 50 Cents, all these lads. Like I listen to these because I feel that pain. Of
course.
And when I listened to you, it was no different. And I was like, it was almost more tragic that you had this talent who's behind bars. And again, because it's something you haven't done, that's what I kind of get my head around. That's why I had to get you on the podcast, especially for a part 2. Like for me, I want to ask you, what was it like finally coming out?
It was mad. Like I remember the day I come out, it didn't even the build up, it didn't really seem real. Like it didn't seem real because I got told I was coming out. So I had to sit a parole. It was like a 6-hour video link, meaning it was like a Zoom call. Parole board. I had to literally plead my case, explain to them why I should be released, why I'll be safe in the public, what I plan to do when I am released. And it took 6 hours. They didn't give me an answer straight away. took like 21 days to be honest. And then they said yes. Then there was another 21 days in case anyone objects, in case someone says no, I don't want him out, no, because of that, blah blah blah. So 42 days, but after 21 days, I've been told you're going home, but I haven't been given a date, so I don't know when I'm going home. So after them 42 days are done, I literally had to wait another 2 months. I was given a release date. It was 2 months later. So a lot of people would think those 2 months were the best 2 months of my life. No, they were hell, because I've been in jail for 12 years. You've told me I'm going home. Okay, when am I going home? It took me 42 days for you lot to tell me you're going home in 2 months. So now every day, I've never used to look at the clock. I'm not a guy that looks at the watch, the clock, the calendar. I'm doing a life sentence. I'll lose my head if I did that. Now I'm looking at the clocks. I'm looking at the time every day. I'm looking at the calendar every day. And it's just piss. Everything's just pissing me off. The littlest things are pissing me off because I just want to go home now. I've exited this whole jail. I've forgot about it. I'm in jail, but I've detached from jail. I don't care
Were you
about
scared
jail.
at the thought of freedom?
Nah, so watch this. I wasn't scared. I was excited, yeah. But then I started to question, have I gone crazy? And the reason I say that, because everyone's scared when they come out or when they're coming out. But I wasn't scared. And do you know why I wasn't scared? I've realised it because I forgot what outside life was like. So a lot of people that are a bit nervous or scared coming out, the reason they're nervous or scared because they know it ain't easy out here. It's not easy living, cost of living. Like, it's not. They might have kids, they might have a girlfriend, there's a lot of stresses out here. What people don't realise is when you're in jail, yes, you're in a horrible place. Yes, you're away from everyone, but you actually, a lot of them stresses are gone, you know. You don't pay bills. You don't have someone that always wants to demand money off you. You don't have to pay rent. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to buy food if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
You can eat the jail food. You can live off them scraps, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And like, people around me that were going home at a similar time were stressing. And I used to think, why are they stressing? And I felt like, it's only now that I've realised that I didn't know what I was coming out to. I'd only seen what I've seen on TV and social media. Freedom looked amazing. It still is amazing.
What was it like walking out the gates?
It was mad. There's a video, I've got a song called Last Lap in it. It's on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. At the very end, you see the video clip of me when I walk out. Like, I couldn't stop smiling. Like, my smile was just like from here to here. Like,
what was it like to see your mum and dad?
Yeah, I was so happy.
Brother?
I saw my mum, my dad, my brother. Like, it just felt so great, man. My mum was crying and that she finally got her son back. Do you know what I mean? But it was just an amazing feeling, man. Like, I remember we left. I'd come out of the jail, hugged everyone, drove to the back of the car park. I had a change of clothes. I threw my jail clothes. I threw it. Put some fresh clothes on. I got my new iPhone 13 Pro. It was new at the time. I got that. They brought me some liquor, like they brought me Grey Goose, Ray and Nephew. I've never drank these things before, innit? I've only heard of them in rap songs. So when I said that's my Grey Goose, yeah, let me get some of that. I'd never drank these things, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know what it was. I drank.
Did you ring up the bird straight away?
Nah, not straight.
No, did you not?
That's straight. That's straight. Because like, I had to be at probation for 2 p.m. I got released at like 9:30, but to be probation for 2 p.m. So by the time I'd even left the jail to get to like London, it was already like probably like 11. It wasn't. I didn't have that long left. Do you get what I'm saying? So I went to eat. I like pizza, and I went to go eat Pizza Express. I think it was Pizza Express. Yeah, Pizza Express. And I couldn't even finish the food, bro. Like, it was so
rich.
Yeah. Everyone told me that. They said, you're not going to be able to eat because prison food, we've become so accustomed to it. It's so bland. It's so bad for you. Like, there's nothing in it. When you eat real food, the nutrients, like, it was making me feel sick. I couldn't really eat.
Mate, I want to ask you a couple of things, right, with that. So the first thing that I want to ask is, like, do you feel now, like, do you feel accustomed to this life now?
Yeah.
So you feel fully settled in now?
Yeah. I feel like in a year's time, I might say I'm more settled today, like in a year's time. But I'm definitely settled now to a point where I felt like I was settled a few months in, but I wasn't. I was still like learning and adjusting. I've been out a year and 4 months now. Definitely accustomed. Like, what's crazy is, like, when I first came out, I forgot about jail straight away. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people told me they reckon that's a kind of trauma. I think it's called
like your mind blocking it out, innit?
this is something like that. This something trauma, where basically something so traumatic you can't remember it, and it's like if you ask me, do you remember that time in jail? I will remember it, but when I'm living my day-to-day life, jail does not even come into my brain.
Do you? I know this is a really mad question to ask you, mate, but have you ever been back to the scene where it all happened? Like that park or that road or that chicken shop?
I've gone past it in a car though.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've gone past it in a car.
How does that feel?
Just felt like wow. And I don't know. I didn't feel like I thought I would feel. I didn't like. I probably would have felt like I would have had a breakdown years ago, but I saw it and I thought, wow, crazy.
And
that was it.
Do you find it hard to have relationships with women now, or even just in general, like because I know this, and I don't want to say it because I know the crack you've told us, especially in part one, but obviously you've went away being convicted of murder. You didn't do it. Is that hard to be like, I'm a convicted murderer and have relationships?
So when I was in prison, I always used to have this thought like, how am I gonna find someone? How am I gonna build relations? How am I gonna do anything with this hanging over my head? But so obviously, like with my music, like whether I like it or not, I've put it out there that I've went jail for murder. I've also put it out there I haven't done the murder. I've come out of jail. I kept my identity hidden for a while. When I've gone on these podcasts, I've literally just put it out there, innit? Like, I got convicted of a murder, I didn't do it. So it's almost out there enough for, if anyone that doesn't feel it or doesn't like it, that's cool. But a lot of people respect me for what I've been through.
I
and
do,
like,
mate.
majority of people, I'd say like nearly 90%, 80%, I can't lie, people, they support me, man. They proper like I say, I feel like it's just how you are, innit? Like, I might have not have done the murder, but if I carried myself in a certain way, a certain manner, people might, do you know what I mean? If you can like fully take accountability of what you've done and just be like how I am, like I'm a calm guy. Like, so people kind of, they respect what I've been through, man.
No, I appreciate that, bro, and I appreciate you for coming on, because again, I feel like you're going to shine a lot of light to people and see that, you know, even if you didn't do something, you can still get caught up in something totally mad, bro, and lose your freedom.
No, definitely.
Obviously, a talented artist as well, and I know that a rapper isn't the brand of Cleeshay. You obviously, you know what I mean, you can sing, rap. Obviously, you're a perfectionist with what you do. You've done it in athletics as a young lad. You're good at, you're multi-talented. You've got all these things going for you. Have you tried to get a job since?
Yeah. So when I first came out, I had a job at a cafe in Hackney, East London. And I got that job through like a mentorship program, like a scheme where they employed people that just come out of prison, been in care, like asylum seekers. Like, it was basically like what's the best way to say it? It was basically
Like
it's like work experience, mentorship
yeah.
program for people from disadvantaged backgrounds, and they got me like a placement in a cafe, which was it was nice. It was different because I've been in jail around criminals for 12 years. I'm now in a restaurant, cafe, bakery. It's a very bougie one, posh, like £15 for the sandwiches, £6 for coffees. So the people that come in, they're all money. You can just tell they speak money, they dress like money, and like that helped me quite a lot because it kind of let me know, yo, the whole world isn't gang. Like, it's not gang everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, to be honest, when I came out of prison, what shocked me was the fact that I didn't realize that criminals there's hardly any criminals. Like, there is criminals, but
there's criminals when you're in it.
Yes,
you know,
basically. In jail, remember, like, everyone I'm seeing is a gang member or a criminal. I come out, it's almost like I can't see any of the road guys because everyone isn't, the women, kids, mum, dad. Like, I just thought, wow, like, it's a completely different world. So I got the job at the CAF. That was through the thing. That was through the mentorship. I don't really think I can apply for a cafe job aside from that because you're dealing with customers, my conviction, things like that. But honestly, it's almost been kind of quite impossible to get a job. I had a job not long ago at like a warehouse not far from where I live, And the reason I applied for that job is because, you know, you don't have to, there's no DBS check. You don't do criminal record check. You're in a warehouse. But a month in, one guy, he just said, yo, you're TikTok famous. And then I was looking at him like, what? And he's like, yeah, you're TikTok famous. I've seen you. And then I just felt like the position, like with what I'm doing, my music, public speaking, the YouTubing, all this stuff, I can't really get a normal job. Number one, my conviction. Number two, I feel like I'm a bit bait. Like, I'm a bit bait. People
Yeah, but the
recognise
thing
me.
is, mate, I think all them facets, so the music, the public speaking, you're doing things in today's age. Like, I don't have a normal job. I literally film people.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I create content for influencers.
But that's all right though. That's when I
yeah,
say
but what
normal
I'm
job,
saying
I
is
mean,
like, but you could set something like. There's no reason why, because you've got more talent than me, bro. Like, so there's no reason why you can't have a long and prosperous, unbelievable career, and I'm sure you will because you've got the right energy. You're a good lad. I respect you. I think you know everything that you've done. I think you've had some shit times in your life, but you're positive and you've came through. Do you know what I mean, mate? You're 29, man. I'm 34, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? I look at that and I'm like, Jesus, like this is mental. Do you ever? Final question.
Yeah.
Do you stay in contact with the guys who you went down with?
Nah, so
because if it was me, I would feel sick. I would be like, I can't speak to anyone like that now.
I don't stay in contact with anyone, but like I don't really. It's mad, but I don't want to either.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like for a long time, I'd say like I'd always blamed the system, the courts, the police. I'd be like, oh, they done me over, they done me this, they done me. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to just look at it as like, listen, no one told him to do that. No one told him to chase that kid for 200 meters and stab him. No one told him to do that. Like, people can say no one told me to go along. Yes, but I didn't stab anyone. Do you get what I'm saying? So I used to blame the system, but I think like over time, when I got out, and I realized how long I'd been away, that's what really made me say, I don't want nothing to do with any of these lot again. Because like that, I think that's when it hurt me the most, like when I realized how long I'd been away. And like what's scary about prison is like you just get lost in a time zone. You don't really know time. You just, every day it's Groundhog Day. You wake up 8, cleaning, gym, bang up, lunch. Like it's the same thing every day. And it's not till I've come out of prison and I've gone, wow, like I've actually been away for a very long time. That's when it hurt.
What's it all worth? Do you know what I mean? What's it all worth? Like
what?
a bit of what? Like a bit of ego as a kid.
The saddest thing is, the boy that actually lost his life on my case, he got called. He got called just the way I got called. Yo, there's some guys. Do you want to back it? Yeah. He don't know. We didn't know him. He didn't know any of us. He was just a random guy.
And bro, that could have been you. That's the thing. And you know what I mean? Like, I think you have a duty to do something positive because unfortunately, I know it wasn't you, but he lost his life.
100%.
And that could have been you. You're out, you've got a loving family, you're a very fortunate guy. Like, yes, you've did 12 years, mate. It's most people's worst nightmare as a young lad. But you've did it. You're out the other side. You're healthy. Your future's looking bright. You got to smash it, bro.
Yeah, not for real.
Honestly, mate, thanks a lot for having you on the show, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers, brother. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Thanks, bro. So if you've enjoyed this conversation and you like things like this, make sure you click up there and watch this episode.